Okay, hi there and welcome. I want to say a big thank you to everybody over at PROMAS for setting this up. We have spent a lot of time and put a lot of effort into making this integration between PROMAS and Inspection Cloud valuable for everyone. And it's been a journey, and I'm really excited to share that success with you. Okay, my name is Jon Ray. I'm the co-founder of Inspection Cloud, and again, thank you all for being here. I know you have busy schedules. Big shout out to the PROMAS team for really putting this webinar together and helping make this integration between PROMAS and Inspection Cloud a success. Today, this presentation is going to be called Upgrading Your Inspection Process in 2019. I'm going to talk about why old school handwritten inspections are going by the wayside and what new digital inspections look like and why that's going to be valuable for you. And then I'm going to give you some really valuable information about some things that have helped me, not only when I was in the property management space, but just as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to pack this full of valuable information for you to grow your doors. If you have your microphone on, I tried to mute just about everybody, but if you can mute yourself if you're not muted, you can use the chat to ask any questions. And we're going to talk about how software in general can help you increase your doors as a property manager, make your prospect happier, and then we're going to talk about how digital inspections can help reduce security deposit disputes. So, thousands of property managers are using tools that you've probably never heard of. I had never heard of them when I was in the property management space, and as I moved into software, I found some things that I really think are going to be valuable to your business. So in today's presentation, we're going to talk about the best software tools to grow your doors and better manage expectations with your tenants and residents. We're going to talk about the #1 way that residents cheat on their inventory condition forms and how you can prevent it. I'm going to tell you how the right technology can be incredibly empowering to property managers and how the wrong technology is going to prevent you from having a competitive advantage as millennials move into the marketplace. We're going to talk about how to better manage your employees and time using the right tools and how property managers can save time and money using all of these tools. So that's a lot to squeeze into an hour-long presentation. Again, you can use the chat to type in any questions that you might have. And of course, the solution to all of these things could very easily be PROMAS and Inspection Cloud. I could make that the answer to all of these, but I promise you that I am going to give you a lot of valuable information above and beyond just recommending PROMAS and Inspection Cloud. I've spoken with thousands of business owners and property managers over the years, and I'm going to share with you the tools in addition to Inspection Cloud and PROMAS that I see the most successful property managers using. So one thing that helps me when I'm watching a presentation is just to open a blank email, type out some notes so that I can kind of remember the things that seem salient or most resonant to me. And then if you want to, you can make that blank email addressed to john@inspectioncloud.com. If you have any questions that I don't answer in my presentation or that I don't see in the chat, feel free to send those over to me, and I'd be happy to share anything that I've learned in my years of property management and running property management software. So first, let's start with some high-level platitudes. We know that technology is always changing because we see that. And one thing that we know to be true is that change is constant. And so what that has historically looked like is typewriters became computers. We used to bang it out on those typewriters. Then we had that neon screen that made us all so much money in the 80s or early 90s. Fax machines became email, and we all were inundated with "you've got mail." I'm showing you all of these examples because I want to showcase to you that just because the internet is here doesn't mean that your current tools are going to be the tools that are going to continue to take you into the future. We all remember when the only form of advertising was print ads. We're all running ads in the newspaper, had that fancy photo in the yellow pages, but of course those all became digital. And if you aren't owning the Google landscape or the digital space, then you're probably starting to lose market share. And so I'm going to talk about some tools that can make you front of mind for your customers in that digital landscape. Of course, desktop became mobile. More and more, we're seeing that people are searching for properties, they're searching for businesses, and they're searching for tools using their phone. And so we want to make sure that we're evolving to match that landscape and meet customers where they're at. And then, of course, Jon Ray, the Google guy, became Jon Ray 2.0 entrepreneur. In 2011, I was running a team of people at Google. We were traveling around the country teaching small businesses how to grow their business online. This wacky photo here is me at the Iowa caucus in 2012, teaching politicians how to use YouTube before YouTube was even a thing. And so I have for many, many years had my eye on the digital landscape and how it's shifting and how businesses can utilize this for success. Of course, then I cut all my hair off and you can see me holding this magnifying glass, searching for what the next best tool is going to be. And I'm going to highlight some of those for you right now. So what did I learn from talking to thousands of small businesses while I was at Google and property managers working and building Inspect and Cloud? Well, there are some tools that are going to be really valuable no matter what your business, but I think these tools are hyper important for property managers who want a competitive advantage. So the first thing is you need virtual help and you don't even know it yet. One thing that all property managers are relying on is, if they're scaling and wanting to scale, is being able to delegate projects and tasks to people. And it can get very expensive to have the amount of personnel on your salary and on your employee budget in order to get all of those projects taken care of. Well, in Web 2.0 world, there's a really unique tool that I want you to write down called Upwork.com. And what Upwork allows you to do is hire task-specific remote contractors. You can hire remote that's in your local area, in your state, in your country, or contractors worldwide. And this is an incredibly valuable tool to find somebody who's already doing the thing that you need them to do. One thing that I see in a lot of businesses is that many employees are jack of all trades in employees, so they have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of things, and that can be a very valuable person to have on your team. But sometimes there are projects when it comes to the digital landscape where you just want to find somebody who already knows what they're talking about, is already doing well, and has already proven success with other businesses. And Upwork.com is a really interesting platform for you to type in the exact details of the project that you want, whether that be having a virtual assistant, finding a graphic designer, getting a receptionist. Do you need somebody virtual to do all your scheduling or to help do competitive research? Upwork.com is going to show you people who are already doing those tasks, and then they're going to show you ratings and reviews so that you can find somebody who is really well suited for the type of thing that you want. You always want to give a project to the person who is already busy with that type of work. And one of the unique things about Upwork is that not only can you find experienced contractors, but as you hire them, you're going to be able to see work diaries where every 10 minutes it's going to take a screenshot of their computer so that you know you're only paying those contractors for time that they're working on your project. And then when the project is over, you don't have to continue to carry that full-time budget. You can let them go work on another project, and then when you need them for that type of work, whether it be writing a blog post or doing Facebook ads or running Google ads, you can hire them for the time that the project requires, and then they can go and do other stuff, and then you can hire them again when you need them again. So if you've got that blank email open or you're taking notes, I want you to write down Upwork.com. Set up a profile, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, because this is a really powerful tool for you to be able to grow your team and grow the amount of leverage you have as a business owner very, very quickly and with a very cost-effective budget. All right, moving on. So the second thing is the SEO triple threat that you've never heard of. Likely, if you're exploring the digital landscape at all, you understand how important search engine optimization is. And what SEO is basically identifying the things on your website and in your marketing campaign that you can do to get on page one of Google, so that when somebody types in property management in your city, you're coming up before your before your competitors. So I learned a lot about the Google algorithm and how Google works when I was working for Google. And there's really three things that you need to keep in mind if you're going to rank well in Google. The first is paid advertisements. You can always pay to play. And this is one of those tasks that you can find somebody who's really skilled for a pretty amicable budget using Upwork.com, or you can utilize somebody in your office who may already have experience with this. Pay to play is going to be the fastest way to get on page one, because you're going to be able to get on there today if you're paying the right amount and you're doing advertisements correctly. The second way, which is more organic, is Google Maps. Google has rebranded Maps as Google My Business, and in order to claim your account, if you haven't already, you need to go to google.com/business and make sure that your office is set up within the Google My Business system. And within Google Maps, the way that Google algorithmically determines who's going to show up first is based on how many 5-star ratings and how many of those ratings a particular company has. So I'm gonna highlight a tool that you can use for this, and we will get into that a little bit later. So 5-star ratings are really important within Google Maps. You want to make sure you claim your business, and then I'll tell you how you can make sure that you're getting as many 5-star ratings as possible. And then the third thing in this SEO triple threat is just organic SEO articles. This is going to require somebody on your team doing some keyword research for your local area. On-page SEO, which is just making sure that you have the right ratio of keywords to other content, and that you're positioning yourself as a thought leader in your local area. And then authoritative backlinks. These are, when I say authoritative backlinks, what I mean is newspapers and blogs that have a lot of traffic linking into your website and using relevant keywords. So again, SEO is a really great thing that you can use virtual employees to use. There's also a lot of great tools online that can help you learn how to do this if that's a project that you or somebody on your team wants to tackle. And I'm happy to share some more of those tools if you want to send me an email to john@inspectingcloud.com. Next is that YouTube is the #1 search engine, and you're probably not utilizing it, or if you are, not utilizing it properly. Everybody knows that they want to rank well in Google, but one of the fastest ways to get on page one of Google is actually to have a video content strategy, because since YouTube is owned by Google, those videos are going to feed into Google search, and more the Google algorithm is placing videos in page one of Google. And so if you have a really solid video strategy, you can, I've seen people rank on page one of Google with one of their videos within 24 hours of posting the video. So, of course, the first thing that you need to do is be posting videos. And a really good way to approach your video strategy is to create a facts and questions collection of videos. So you get with your receptionist, get with your agents. If you've been in business a while, you likely know what the most common questions asked in your local area are. And you make a list of all of those questions, and then you just have somebody pull out an iPhone or get some inexpensive camera equipment, make sure that the audio is really good, and then you or somebody knowledgeable and personable in your office just answers each of those questions on video, and then you upload those with the title, with an engaging title that answers that question. Because more and more people use Google to find answers to questions. They're just literally typing a question in. And if you have answered that question, that can be a really interesting way for you to start outranking your competition. One thing that you want to do as you're uploading these videos is make sure that your video thumbnail is enticing and click-worthy. And I'll show you on the next slide what that looks like. So here, we're in Austin, Texas, where we've been running Inspecting Cloud for over 7 years now. And you can see I've typed in cost of a good property manager in Austin, Texas. This might be a search that one of your prospects is looking into. So when it comes to typing this into Google, you can see that the one that comes up first has this really nice, clean thumbnail. So a thumbnail is the image that you see next to the video title. And they basically, in their title, answered my question and have all the appropriate keywords. So you want to make sure that all of your videos have this clean thumbnail like this. Then you want to really write a compelling title. And a good way to know what a compelling title would sound like is go to the local newsstand or your local grocery store and pick up a men's or women's health magazine and look at how they label all of their articles. They have the highest paid and most compelling copywriters who are writing those ads, and you want to model the way that they write ads. So with your video titles and your blog posts, you want to make sure that you're writing them the way that a magazine editor might write their titles, because YouTube and Google algorithm are going to favor clicks. And if you have a click-worthy title, whether somebody reads the full article or watches the full video or not, that counts as SEO juice towards that content. And then in YouTube, you want to make sure that the first 2 lines of your description are also compelling and interesting. So you can see in this list of videos, we can see the first 2 lines of the description here. And if that is an immediate link to your website or an immediate marketing pitch, it's going to be less likely that somebody engages with that video and clicks on it. So the top line here by Austin Landmark Property Services has a good description of what's going to be in the video, and it makes me want to click on this to kind of learn more, where everybody else is just trying to lead me directly to their website. And that's not always the best strategy. Now you can see this third video does have a phone number listed, and that can be an interesting thing to play around with, because some people do like to just pick up the phone and talk to a human. And so you can split test whether or not just having a description of what's in the video versus having your phone number in there leads to more leads in your particular area. So that's something that I think is an opportunity for all property managers. Everybody's trying to compete in regular Google search, and one of the easiest ways to get seated in there without having to do years and years of SEO work is to start a really solid video content campaign. And if you need help getting inspired in that, I'm happy to send you some links or to tell you how I've seen people effectively do that. Just send me an email. Okay, next, reputation management is going to make or break you. And if you've been in business for any amount of time, you know that this is true. I'm going to fire off some startling statistics that you may or may not have heard to showcase why reputation management is so important. And then I'm going to recommend a software tool that you can use to help better manage your online reviews. So 85% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. That means that 85% of your prospects out there are going to trust some random review that's written on your website or written on another social website almost as much as they're going to trust their neighbor if they were going to recommend you. So you want to make sure that you're managing your reviews online properly. 15% of consumers don't trust businesses who don't have reviews. So if your strategy has been just to not have any reviews, negative or positive, you're losing at a minimum 15% of the people who might do business with you. 77% of customers think that reviews older than 3 months aren't relevant. They want to know, what do people right now think about your property? And this tool that I'm going to recommend is going to help you make sure that you're always getting relevant content. And this can be something that is a daunting task, even at Inspect Cloud, where we're always trying to update the reviews that we have coming in from people, and using various software tools can be a way to automate this a little bit so that it's not taking so much bandwidth from you. Reviews are one of the most powerful ranking factors in Google Local. If you don't have 5-star reviews on Google Local, you are not going to rank in Google Maps, and your competitors are going to outrank you. So you want to make sure that not only are you driving traffic to your Google reviews page, but when you're driving that traffic, you want to make sure you're only driving people who are going to leave high reviews, 5-star reviews for you. Because 49% of consumers say that a business needs at least a 4-star rating, or they're not even going to use you. So the software solution that I recommend is something called gatherkudos.com. This is a really interesting tool, and the way that it works is like this. You're going to be able to put your logo on it, brand it. This can be in your email signature. It can be on your website, and you can send this to all of your property owners and tenants as they do their move in, move out, et cetera. And what it does is it sends them a sheet that says, take a moment to share your experience with us, and it gives them 3 options to click. One is a happy, smiley, good. One is kind of the indifferent, not bad, and one is the bad. Now, if they click the good, that means that they are highly likely to leave a 5-star review. So this is going to directly take them to your Google reviews page or your Yelp page or whichever page you want to direct them to so that they can write a positive review for you. However, if they didn't have a good experience and they click the not bad or bad, it's going to take them to a private software service where you can still get that feedback and use their feedback to improve your processes and service, but it's not going to be publicly available. So what you're doing is mitigating the risk of asking for reviews by directing the people who had a positive experience to your public profiles and the people who had a negative experience to a private profile where you can get that feedback, but your other prospects and customers aren't going to see it on a public site. So this is a really interesting way for you to manage your online presence and your reputation. And then finally, handwritten inspection reports just don't work anymore. And at Inspection Cloud, and based on the research that we're doing, we see the move-in inventory condition form and many of the handwritten forms that property managers are using becoming erroneous as more and more millennials move into the marketplace. And when I talk about millennials moving into the marketplace, I'm not just talking about tenants, but also the property owners that are going to be your prospects that you're working with. More and more are going to be millennials who are going to expect software solutions. And then also your competition more and more are going to be businesses run by millennials. And you better believe that they're going to be using all of the bells and whistles that software solutions have, and prospects are going to start expecting that. And so that's why we feel switching to digital inspections and using a tool that perfectly syncs with PROMAS, the system that you're already using, can be really valuable. And the reason being, and I've already talked about this a little bit, residents, not all of them, but some of them do cheat on inventory condition forms. It can be really hard to prove a handwritten or scribbled comment a year later. And so I'm going to show you how you can prevent those disputes. Prospects like professional inspection reports. So in addition to you having really clean data about the properties, you can use this as a prospecting tool. So in your new prospect packets, you can put these reports in there, and it's going to be a way for you to close more business. There's an opportunity for you to be managing your employees' time better. I'll show you how Inspection Cloud lets you do that. Inspection Cloud Plus, our new resident inspection, is going to save you a lot of time and money with your move-in, move-out reports. And then, of course, Inspection Cloud integrates right with PROMAS. So, do you look like this guy or gal? I don't need a smartphone. I've got a pager. We can all think back on our lives and realize when there was a shift in technology and maybe we weren't on board right away. There was the pager, then the remote came along, and how many of you were still using this thing? The clicker. Honey, hand me the clicker. We had the clicker at my house forever. My parents did not want to move off the clicker, but eventually we did move to the remote. And what we know in the technology world is that early adopters get rewarded in the marketplace. And with technology changing so quickly, all of these tools that I'm recommending to you, including PROMAS and Inspection Cloud, are ways that you can get a competitive advantage over all of the competition in your local area, and the competition that will continue to grow as more and more millennials come into the marketplace. So it's time to level up your 2019 technology stack, and that's what we feel Inspection Cloud is going to be really good at doing, and I'll tell you why. First, let's do a mental poll. Let's practice your telepathy, because I'm not going to actually set this as a poll, but just kind of beam me. How are you currently doing your property inspections? Are you using pen and paper forms still? Are you? If you are, it's okay. I'm going to show you how easy it is to switch off of that into a digital solution. Are you using a third-party solution that's not integrated with PROMAS? Are you wasting time by having to go through different software programs? Or are you using some other method? Now, usually in live presentations when I do this, the majority of people that I'm talking to are still using some type of pen and paper form or a Microsoft Word type solution or spreadsheet paired with a digital camera. And that is just becoming more and more inefficient as software solutions get better. And we really feel like over the last 7 years, we have fine-tuned Inspection Cloud to the point where it's a no-brainer and a very intuitive tool for you. So what it's going to do is it's going to take all of that information that maybe historically you've been collecting with another program or using pen and paper, and you're going to be able to build out a custom checklist where all of that information is very easy to collect with your smartphone or your iPad or any mobile device. And then we're going to compile all of that into a really clean looking professional PDF document that is branded with your logo so that you can showcase to tenants and property owners that you've got their best interest and that you've got your eye on every single corner of their property. So let's talk about why are digital inspections so vital to a successful property management business? Something changed in the marketplace that made this more and more relevant. And now we're at a tipping point where if you're going to be successful in property management, we feel that digital inspections are a must. What was it that changed? It was the smartphone. Smartphone adoption is continuing to skyrocket. And as more and more millennials move into the marketplace, that's only going to continue. And they like having information at their fingertips. Now, every generation is starting to understand how valuable it is to have information at your fingertips. And as business owners, that is not only true for prospects, but for the data in our day-to-day operations as well. So 2007, June of 29th, that's when we all lost our attention spans. The iPhone was first released. It's hard to believe that that was almost 12 years ago. Android was released in 2008 and the iPad in 2010. Those were kind of the milestones that moved us into Web 2.0 and made it so valuable to use software solutions for the data that it allows us to have at our fingertips. Did you ever watch Saved by the Bell? Did your kids watch Saved by the Bell? Here's Zach Morris. He's got one of those big old clunky cell phones. And with information at our fingertips, we know that customers are starting to demand real-time access, and they want to see the latest innovations in the businesses that they choose to do business with. So what is the solution? Well, one thing that you may not know is that as a serial entrepreneur, I had the opportunity to invest into a company that's helping save the bees. And so you'll forgive me if I use a bunch of bee puns throughout the rest of this presentation. That's me in my beekeeping suit. I got to go out there and actually see what was going on in a hive. And one thing that we know about bees is that they take pollen and they carry it from flower to flower. Without bees, 70 out of 100 crops would die. Pollination helps assist in healthy water cycles, biodiversity, growth, and we need our pollinators. And this is no different with marketing, because marketing is about good pollination of ideas. And every point of contact that we have with tenants and property owners is an opportunity to pollinate your business and showcase value. When something is out of sight, it's out of mind. And so using digital inspection reports and the built-in automation tools that we have, it makes it very easy for you to continually be keeping in front of your property owners so that they know you have their best interest in mind. And when it comes time for them to renew with you, they're going to be like, wow, this person was sending me a lot of great information, and I always knew exactly what was happening in my property. And that's the value of having a digital inspection report, is that the retention value is through the roof. Okay, so what does proving value look like? Well, with our total communication feature, what we allow you to do after an inspection report is done is we're going to automatically send the report to anybody that you want it to go to. So it's going to go to the inspector in your office who completed the report. It's going to go to the resident or tenant if you want them to have it. It's going to go to the property owner or homeowner so that they can see what's going on in their property and so that they can have clear communication with you and see that you are doing the best that you can and going above and beyond to make sure that they understand the status of their property. And then it's going to go to you, the big boss at your company, to make sure that you understand what's happening in each of your properties. And every email, text message, or phone call that one of your property owners gets from you is another opportunity for you to prove value to them and to showcase that you are better at managing their properties than the competition. So do you remember the old inspection report? Are you still using something like this? When you have to go to court, are you embarrassed because the inspection has coffee stains on it, or the handwriting's illegible, or it's all crumpled up because it was in the bottom of a filing cabinet? This method is erroneous, and it is moving out of the marketplace as more and more people adopt digital solutions on the customer side, which then forces businesses to do the same. And so the new inspection, very clean, everything's typed out, instant notifications are going to you, your inspectors, your employees, and your homeowner. You can use this on your phone or tablet. You're going to be able to easily access all of your reports because they're stored in the cloud, so you can access them from your phone or your computer. You're not going to have to go digging in filing cabinets, from years ago in order to settle security deposit disputes. And of course, all of this information is going to sync with the existing PROMAS software that you're using. So it's going to make it really valuable and efficient for you to get these reports done. And then I'll talk about our custom reports and how whatever information you want to collect at a property, our software at Inspecting Cloud allows you to build out a custom template so that you can collect those exact pieces of data and have that populate and showcase in the report that goes out to your homeowners. Of course, our reports can be accessed from anywhere. I've already spoken about that. And the reason that this is valuable is that when a property owner calls you and wants to know something about the status of their property, it can be embarrassing if you can't find an inspection report or don't have access immediately to give them the answer that they're looking for. But you can set up anybody in your office as a user, and when somebody calls in to ask about their property, they can very easily type in the property owner name or address and see in an instant what's happening with that property and very easily share that report with a property owner so that the property owner has peace of mind that their property is being taken care of. Now, Inspecting Cloud is also going to automatically give you access to all of these reports from your inbox. I know that it can be scary to move to a bunch of new software solutions, and hopefully this hasn't been too overwhelming of a presentation for you because I know I'm throwing a lot at you. But one of the things that we've done so that you're not constantly having to log into new software is that if you want, we can have all of the activity and all of the inspection reports that are being generated in your Inspecting Cloud account just show up in your inbox. When we talk to property managers and talk to them about what is the tool that they use most often, it's still email. People are in their inbox more than anything. They have access to it on their phone, desktop, and they just are comfortable with it. And so if that's you, you can set Inspecting Cloud to just have all of these reports come to you, and then there'll be a nice, easy link where you can view this in a web or mobile browser or download a PDF report so that you, in real time, can see what's happening with your entire property portfolio. And of course, better communication. We talked about the total communication platform. We have made this really customizable so that reports can go to whoever you want them to go. If you want everybody in your office to get a report when it's done, that can happen. If you don't want the homeowner to do it, you can just turn that feature off and send it out manually when you're ready. But we've made it really easy to use these reports as a point of contact for each member of your team, your prospects, and your tenants. And then once a week, you as the broker owner are going to get a productivity report. That's going to show you all the inspections that have been done for the week. You're going to see a map where all of those, you can see everything that's been completed. You'll see all the employees who completed an inspection, how much time they spent at each property. And this is going to allow you to identify your rising stars in the company, those who are able to get through these inspection reports really quickly and get them completed, versus those who are spending hours and hours and hours at a property or not doing their reports that are assigned to them. So this is a really easy way for you to, at a glance, once a week, know the status of what was supposed to be done and what actually got done so that you can make more effective managerial decisions. Now, within the app, we allow you to build out a custom template so that you can collect whatever information you need. So Under the single family home, you might walk into the living room and you want to make sure that they're checking the furniture and checking the paint and checking the floors. All of those are things that you can either use one of our standard templates, or you can build out a template specific to the data and the information that you want to collect. But we know how cumbersome it can be to have to type the same thing over and over again. When I used to be in apartment property management and would have to do, 100 move-outs in a month or more, it was incredibly annoying to have to constantly be typing, or back then we were handwriting all of this out. And I was writing the same thing over and over again. Use this color paint. Make sure that you replace the carpets. All of those things in Inspecting Cloud can be added as auto text comments. And you can very easily just use a drop-down menu and drop your most used comments into the field so that you're not having to constantly retype those out. We also allow you to use voice-to-text dictation. So you can just click the microphone in the app, speak your comments into it, and it will automatically transcribe those into text comments. So it makes it really easy to move through an inspection. I talked about customizing the reports, and when I say customize, we can really do anything. If you need to do HOA inspection reports, we can map to your existing HOA reports so that you're collecting all the right data. You can do a move-in report, a move-out report. If you need specific information for commercial properties versus residential properties, we can have a report for each of those. And then as you assign these out to people in your office to complete the inspections, you just select which template you want them to use. And then they're just going to literally go down the list and make sure that they collect information about every single aspect of that property that you want to cover. So you may be familiar with how property managers lose money without digital inspections. The biggest way is losing a competitive advantage. In digital inspections, having one of these clean reports in your prospecting kit is a really great way to showcase to new prospects that you're going to be attentive to their property and that you're going to be providing them with valuable feedback that they can use to better manage their property portfolio. Of course, it's also going to eliminate all the drive time of having to go to the office, get the camera, plug everything in using the USB thing, make sure that those are somehow synced in a Microsoft Word document, the extra paper, the extra time for copying. I mean, I can remember being in the copy room and having to make copies of all these things and tape the photographs to a sheet of paper and then put it through the copier. Using Inspecting Cloud and having digital inspections is going to save a lot of time and money. And if you're paying people hourly, whether it's $10 an hour, 15, 20, 25, 30, they pay them $30 an hour, good for you. Your employees are lucky. But regardless of how much you're paying, hours wasted copying things, wasting time in the break room, these are all things that having a digital solution are going to minimize so that you're paying for the most efficient use of time for your employees. And of course, new customers are going to expect a demand in upgrading your technology. We know that millennials are slowly, actually very quickly now, becoming the dominant spending force in the marketplace. And because they were raised on iPads and iPhones, they are going to expect digital solutions. And so more and more, you're going to find that the prospects coming to you are of the millennial generation. And even if they're Gen X or a little bit older, the mindset is moving into how can I have information at my fingertips? How can I assure that I can access everything in this little computer that I have in my hand? And the future is already here. Now, you don't have to necessarily have this Tom Cruise Minority Report, giant computer screen hologram in the air, but we do want to make sure that we are identifying the tools that are going to make us most efficient and most effective, and then starting to utilize those in our businesses. So what is changing? Let's reiterate this point with the tenant move-in and move-out process, and how are we going to handle security deposit disputes more and more in the future? Are you protecting yourself when it comes to having these security deposit disputes? And are you still handwriting tenant agreements and forms? If you are, these are all potential areas of risk in your business. Traditional hand and move-in inventory reports can lead to foul play, and it's just the nature of the report. When something is handwritten and when there's not a photo attached to it, there's a lot of different interpretations of single word handwritten responses. And when you have to go to court, God forbid, it can be a very sticky situation if you're trying to prove that something was one way at move-in and destroyed at move-out if you have holes or a lack of information in your inventory condition form. The traditional move-in process without technology looks something like this. Property managers give their tenants a paper move-in inventory condition form that all states have. The tenant handwrites the damages on the form. The tenant turns in the form, and then the property manager is going to use that handwritten form to compare the tenant's move-in inventory with a previous inspection or the inspection that they do on move-out. The problem with this is that tenants can claim that the property manager deducted too much. So this is where security deposit disputes come into play. And if you don't have well-documented move-in reports and a well-documented move-out report, this can get a little expensive if you're having to spend too much time in the courtroom, especially if you're using a third-party service to do that. And of course, this can lead to negative reviews from the tenant, because anytime there's a security deposit dispute, even if you're in the right, the tenant's going to be mad. And unfortunately, one of the ways that they can get back at you is by writing a negative review on your Google reviews. And as we've already talked about, you want to make sure that you're as close to 5-star reviews on your Google reviews as possible, because that's going to directly affect how you show up in Google search. So how do we fix this? Well, let's first look at what this looks like historically. So on move-in day, the tenant writes down that there's stains on carpet. So they maybe even take a photo, but likely if you're just using a handwritten inventory move-in condition form, there's a handwritten statement that says stains on carpet, and you can see there's just a couple of little stains here. Well, on move-out day, what do those stains on carpet look like? Ooh. Now, according to the handwritten report, the stains on carpet were there when the tenant moved in. And this is where you can run into trouble when you go to court trying to prove that the tenant should have to pay for the carpet replacement. Now, we've solved that solution with Inspect in Cloud, and I'll show you how. With our resident inspection and resident inventory app, basically we allow you to send a link on move-in to your tenant. They download an app that is not branded. It's branded with your company's colors based on how you select, so that it looks like a tool that you've built. They download that. They're going to be sent a temporary login. Takes 5 minutes to set up, and then whatever your custom template for your move-ins are, they're going to have a checklist in the app that they go through. So they'll go through the living room. It'll say floor coverings. They'll mark whether those are clean, yes or no, undamaged, yes or no, working, yes or no. And if they say no to any of these questions, Gandalf appears. You shall not pass. We have made it very clear to the tenant that if they're going to complete their move-in inspection report and there is something that is awry in the property, they have to take a photo so that there's clear photo evidence of it. And if they write any comments, they have to attach a photo to that as well. This means that when you have the move-out report, there's going to be clear evidence of the status of the property when the tenant moved in, and no judge is going to have any question about the interpretation of handwritten notes. There's photos to verify everything. It's very easy to attach these to the inspection, and then the tenant just uploads all of that, and you get a notification via email and in the app showcasing that the move-in inspection report has been completed. Again, all of that data gets compiled into a really professional PDF report. This is a great way to store all of this information in the cloud. Of course, you can print these if you want to, and a great prospecting tool is to print them and have them in your new prospect kit so that your new property owners know how you're going to be communicating the status of their property. But the app collects whatever data that you want, photos, comments, yes, no questions. Those binary questions can be whatever you want them to be using our custom checklist. So this is a really easy way for you to collect the data that you need in your property. And then one of the really time-saving tools of Inspection Cloud is that we've made the move-in, move-out process very easy. If you've ever had to manually go through and compare and contrast a move-in report with a move-out report, you know that it can be mind-numbing, and it can take a lot of time. We've done several time tests of just kind of comparing a move-in report, a handwritten move-in report to a handwritten move-out report. It can take hours to do these if you have a lot of them to do. With Inspection Cloud, look at this guy with his feet kicked up on the table. It only took him 33 seconds to do 10 reports, or to do 10 property reports. And that's because all of this information is stored in the cloud, and then we can take all of those fields and very easily compare and contrast them. So do you want to be spending hours doing these move-in, move-out reports, or do you want to save time and money and have these reports be more accurate? Because when a human is having to go through hundreds of these reports every single month, there's naturally going to just be error in those reports. And when you're delegating that to a computer software who is algorithmically looking for these differences, there's just going to be a better heads up for you on where the discrepancies in the move-in and move-out reports are. So we feel that digital inspections and Inspection Cloud is much faster and more efficient. Our goal has always been to create happy property managers, and we know how frustrating the move-in, move-out report and process can be because we've been in the industry. I used to have to do so many of those move-in, move-out reports when I was doing apartment leasing and management, and it's just not fun. So with Inspection Cloud, this is going to allow you, if you're doing these yourself, to have an easier time, or it's going to make your employees more efficient, and it's going to give you more data to communicate to your property owners. The time wasted during security deposit disputes is something that, again, you're not going to have to deal with. The court costs alone can be insane if you have a really bad security deposit dispute, not to mention the accountability and the errors that can come up in trying to decipher those handwritten forms. And then you just don't need that added stress. The Inspection Cloud and having this digital solution makes it very easy for you to collect this data, have the side-by-side comparison, and so you're not going to be wasting so much energy. So some questions for consideration as you think about whether this makes sense in your property management business are, how much time does the average dispute consume in total time? When you have to go to court for a security deposit dispute, you can waste a lot of time, especially if you're using a third-party service to do this for you. And if you do not have good documentation, you know that the judge is going to throw it out. And then your property owners are going to be wondering why you did not provide the proper information and data to have a successful dispute. And again, when it comes to prospecting, you can showcase this report to your prospects so that they know that should there be a security deposit dispute, you are going to be putting them in the best possible position to win that dispute in court. And then what's the average percentage for wear and tear damages to the property? You want to be able to have clear data that showcases what the damages are, what the changes in the property are, and be able to easily communicate that to property owners. And negative reviews are not good for continued business. They're going to affect your Google ranking, and if you have good, clear information about your properties, you're going to mitigate the risk of negative reviews due to that gray area that sometimes comes with security deposit disputes. So we'll ask this again, why is all of this changing? Well, you know why. It's in your pocket. It's your smartphone, and smartphone usage is not only way up, but it is continuing to skyrocket as more and more millennials enter the marketplace. We just see this trend continuing. The power in your pocket and the power in the phone that you have in your hand is greater than the computers that we used to send the first man to the moon. That power is only going to get greater, and the data that you can collect is only going to become more valuable to you as a business owner and to your prospects. And so at Inspection Cloud, our promise to you is that we are always going to be forward thinking in how inspections and property managers can utilize the data collected in an inspection effectively, and we we'll consistently be taking feedback and upgrading our tool to make sure that it matches your needs as a property manager. And then what we see very clearly in all of the reports, studies, and data is that millennial spending power is doubling. We're there. I mean, we went from $600 billion in spending power in 2015 to just 5 years later. This is next year estimated to be at $1.4 trillion. That's a lot of millennials that are spending money. They're the ones that are going to be taking over their parents' estates and portfolios. They're the ones that are going to be buying new property. And then, of course, they're the tenants. And so we want to make sure that we are effectively marketing to the millennials who are going to command a large majority of the spending power in the economy. Simple tools are going to keep you ahead of the game, and Inspect Cloud, PROMAS, and all the other tools that I've talked about in this presentation are a way that you can have a competitive advantage over everyone else in your local area and your state. Customers want to have information to make good decisions. And when you can utilize digital inspection reports to back up the recommendations that you have for property owners about their property, it's going to make your job a lot easier. So because you're a PROMAS user and because you were so patient and spent so much time with me on this call, we are offering a 14-day free trial so that you can see how easy it is to integrate your PROMAS account with Inspect Cloud. So in order to take advantage of that 14-day trial, you can go to inspectandcloud.com/PROMAS, enter in all your info there, and you'll automatically be able to get set up and start playing around with this. I suggest that you just do an inspection of your office just to get a hang. Use one of our standard templates and get a hang of how this works. But we feel very excited about this integration. The people at PROMAS, everyone there has given us such valuable feedback and has really been A++ when it comes to making sure that this integration is successful. And so I just want to tip my hat to everyone over at PROMAS. I want to thank you guys for being on the call. I'll look through the chat real quick and see if there's any immediate questions. Let's see. One is, when you take a photo, does it automatically integrate into the app? So good question. Anytime that you take a photo in the app, it's going to automatically attach itself to the room area and room item that you took that photo. And then that photo is going to showcase in that specific room area in the report. So the photo is going to be location specific to where it was in the property. And then we have a feature in the app so that you can also save that photo to your camera roll just as a backup there. And as I'm talking about backups, I want to assure you that all of your data is your data. We allow you to very easily download all of your information as an Excel spreadsheet or as a PDF report. So if for some reason you ever wanted to go somewhere else, or you just wanted to create a backup of all your data, we make it very easy for you to do that. We really do believe in our tool and think that once you start using it, you're going to want to continue using it for a long time. And because of that, we've built in all kinds of assurances to make sure that the risk is as low as possible for you. And one of the ways that you can try this risk-free is by going to inspectandcloud.com/PROMAS. So I hope that was valuable information for you. Hopefully you have an opportunity over the coming hours, days, or weeks to check out Inspect Cloud and check out all the other tools that I recommended, because I really do, after talking to hundreds and thousands of business owners, these are the tools that I think can and that I see in other businesses making the most impact in the least amount of time. So thank you again for listening to everything that I had to say in the presentation. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to send me an email. It's John@inspectandcloud.com, and get started with your 14-day free trial at inspectandcloud.com/PROMAS. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you on the other side. Bye, everybody.